Artano is a beautiful use case of how successful Project Catalyst can be for various projects. They've gone through multiple rounds of funding to build their platform Artano. If you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. It only came onto my radar a few weeks ago when I saw a LinkedIn post out of all the places that talked all about the launch of their product and launch of their platform. So check it out. Marija and Matt joined me on this episode to talk all about it, their journey through that particular process and where they are now with their platform, which is really, really cool. If you love this type of content, please give me that thumbs up, click subscribe, click the notification bell, and you hear more really cool Cardano related content from me soon. Let's get into this interview.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast.
I have Marija and Matt from Artano. It's a brand new curated NFT marketplace, and it's very different from what I'm used to seeing, such as CNFT, CNFT.io or anything like that. And thank you so much for coming on to the podcast so you can tell us a little bit more about the platform and what you're trying to do with this. I've seen a couple of announcements, couple of new things that are coming out, and I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about them. So welcome both of you to the podcast.
Thank you for the invite. Really happy to be here.
All right. So first off, can we get into a little bit of background about both of you? Marija, could you tell us how you got into crypto and how you found Cardano?
Yeah, I mean, my journey definitely wasn't. So I have very few touch points or had with cryptocurrency before this. So Matt is actually my childhood friend. We went to the same college, I think 8 or 9 years ago. And so we stayed in touch. He went to university in the US. I went to an American university in China. We were 4 years apart or something like that. And then he reached out to me in December, I think 2020. With the idea of creating an NFT marketplace on the Cardano blockchain. And first of all, I was like, what are NFTs? What is blockchain and what is Cardano? Because I had no clue. I have more of a finance business background. So to me, this was completely new. I can read code, obviously, but do I know what I read? Sometimes probably not. So everything was new to me. So I was a complete newbie in December 2020. And then I stayed to help out with a few things. And then he asked me to become one of the co-founders and help him build a business and be more on the business side of things and more on the finance side of things, while he and the devs are focused more on the technology. And now we're kind of building this community together. So that's a short intro into how I came into Cardano and blockchain. So Cardano was actually the first thing I ever not knew about. Obviously, everyone knows about Bitcoin and Ethereum and a few others maybe, right? Like meme coins. But Cardano was the really real first blockchain that I interacted with, that I got to know, and I understood the entire ecosystem. So to me, it's, Cardano first and then everything else, because as I understood the infrastructure, I also came to understand how superior it is compared to other blockchains. So for me, that was kind of the biggest reason why I believe that the marketplace that we're building can be successful, because of the blockchain that it's on in the long term. So not necessarily the next year or 2 years, but the next decade or 2 decades or something like that.
That's a really cool perspective of it. And I'm glad you got dragged in kicking and screaming. Well, probably not kicking and screaming.
Not kicking and screaming. I was curious. I was just everything was new. So it was really overwhelming. And to build a business plan and to build a finance and investment plan, you have to understand the whole ecosystem, which is incredibly difficult. And then you throw in cryptocurrency into that, and it's, a whole new level of complicated, especially because data at that point mostly focused on Ethereum. And we didn't really have, December 2020 NFTs were kicking off, end of 2020, start of 2021, they were kicking off on Cardano, but it wasn't, nearly as vibrant as it is today. So if you were looking for data, where would you go? If you're trying to find how many NFTs were minted, the average prices, who are these people? Where's a database with, with projects? And for Ethereum and other blockchains, you have that data and you have something to go off of. So that was incredibly difficult, especially if you're looking for external investors. I think it's very tricky being somewhere incredibly early on.
And Matt, what's your background in regards to getting into crypto and specifically Cardano?
So I actually started exploring crypto in college. Yeah, I was in the US, and I think it was 2017, and there was the dip, there was the huge crash, and right after then I was like, okay, maybe I should go get into it. And then just like snap of your fingers, it's 2 years later, and I'm actually looking at NFTs, and I'm like, okay, well, this is like I think like some of the major projects were like, one Ethereum was $200, and you could buy something that costs now $48,000, for $200. And unfortunately, I didn't get into it, but I wanted to, get a piece of the pie. I was like, I want to build my own NFT project, and from NFT project, and like Ethereum increased in price, I was like, I'm not going to risk, $200 per mint to mint something that might not succeed. And I was looking at other blockchains, and then I was like, okay, well, there's no other option except for Ethereum, and let's do it on Cardano, because I really like the banking the bank ethos, and also like the low fees. Of course, I mean, it's more inclusive and it's more sustainable. So that's why I decided Cardano, and I gathered a team. We applied for funding for Catalyst, and found the devs through that. And yeah, we have like 11 people now working with us. So pretty exciting stuff. Yeah.
So let's get into what Artano actually is. I did see the Project Catalyst proposal. I think it was in Fund 4, was it?
2 and 4, yes.
Two and 4. Okay. So I wasn't even in the Cardano ecosystem at Fund 2. So it's Fund 4, I think, is when I saw it all. Can you give the audience a little bit of a background about what Artano is and what you're trying to achieve with it?
So Artano is the first kind of low quantity, high quality NFT marketplace on Cardano. It's really at the center of our kind of ethos is the collectors and artists coming together and building their own marketplace. So decentralizing curation, because most of the marketplaces that are curated right now, that are very limited in number of NFTs they sell, they're pretty centralized. Like it's the CEOs, it's the founders who are deciding who comes to the platform. For us, it is like that right now as well. We chose the first council, which is 20 people, and they come from all over the world. The next council will be voted on by the community. So it's really, I think it's a different approach to NFTs and different approach to decentralization of an NFT marketplace, right? And I think Cardano is the perfect place for that. So that's pretty much like the gist of Artano, right?
That's really cool. I didn't realize that it had that decentralized factor in it. So the people that are curating are voted into the platform to actually bring on what artists actually sell on there. That's really cool. That's really unique. I had absolutely no idea.
We need to market that better, I think.
Yeah, I mean, in the future, ideally, it would be all people who hold ARTA tokens. And ARTA tokens, you can earn them on the platform by obviously trading on the platform in a couple of few ways, staking with ARTA pool. And you can use these tokens for different things on the platform. But aside from utility and accessing spaces, you're going to get to vote on who maybe the next curators will be, or this token itself can make this person a curator. So let's say you hold a certain number of ARTA tokens as a collector on our platform. You are the one who is going to be going over applications, approving people and allowing people in. So it's kind of like the idea behind this is creating a community that keeps like drawing people in and builds its own community. And you always have, instead of having 2 or 3 curators that are screening the artwork and saying who can and cannot mint, this is a way more like decentralized approach and a more community curation, which is something that we haven't seen, or I haven't seen pretty much anywhere. It's either like completely open, which is the OpenSea model, or you have something that's extremely curated and there's a select group of artists, which there's nothing wrong with that. But the approach that we're taking is taking a little longer time to build, and like 20 council members and putting them all together, and then like figuring out, okay, how do we keep going forward in the most constructive way possible. That was like the challenge in the first, I would say, 6 months or so.
Okay, so you mentioned a couple of things in that where there is that ARTA token, and you can get it by staking at a particular pool. And how else can you get that? Did I get the idea that you could actually earn it by buying some of the NFT art pieces as well? Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you would buy an NFT as an artist. So if you're a collector, you would collect art, and you would get ARTA tokens for free, basically. So we wanted to have this like idea of community is participating in the ecosystem, they're selling their art, they're buying new users of the token, and they're the ones who should decide, the ones who hold most of the tokens, right? Should the direction of the platform, right? And early adopters are gonna earn the tokens much easier than late adopters. So that idea of, we were thinking, okay, whales, at the beginning, maybe an ICO would not be the best idea because whales would pick it up and then we kind of centralize our ecosystem. So we're open to this idea, of course, but too early for that. It was too early 6 months ago. And, we have I think 50,000 tokens distributed. It's 21 million tokens, the total supply. So it's not a big supply. And it's, I think it's going to really bring a new dimension to NFT curation on it, this Cardano. So really excited for that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I love that concept of the people actually participating in the ecosystem and buying the particular art pieces, the CNFTs from it, actually gets rewarded in the Arta token as well. So they can actually then participate further in it. So it's people that are actually supporting the artists and buying whatever's going through the platform, having a future say in the platform too. That's really cool. I love that. Absolutely love it. So what type of artists are on the platform at the moment? Are these well-known artists that you have in the physical space at the moment, or where have you found these artists over the last 6 months?
I think we could single out people. I always feel bad singling out certain artists over the others because I value them all exactly the same. But we do have people that are more active in the traditional art world, and also some people that are very active and well-known in the CNFTs. So that was kind of the idea when building the council and building the community, obviously, attracting as many people from the current Cardano NFT ecosystem. But also we realized that for us to grow, and, not only for Artano to grow, but for Cardano to grow and for it to prosper and, be the blockchain that can compete in terms of NFTs and be on par with what's currently in Ethereum and Tezos, that we needed to reach out and bring in more artists. So now we have, through our council members, we brought in some artists from Tezos. We brought in some artists that are minting on Ethereum. We have, so maybe the one that came to mind, famous, but viral, would be one of the artworks of Jean-Michel, the Sleeping Lady, which really went viral. I think it goes viral every a year or two, because it's a CGI artwork of mountains, and it's completely he made the entire concept and everything else, but then it got people thinking that it's it's a mountain in Alaska. Some people were saying no, it's not in Alaska, it's some other place. So it did go viral a couple of times, and we did talk to him, and he's saying that it's going to be an NFT on Cardano, definitely. Most of his artwork from before will be. Then we do have, most of our council members, obviously, you can find them on our website, and you can go to their social media, you can check their Instagram and see what they're doing. There's quite a lot of well-established people, both in also in the CNFT space. So Tyler, obviously, with Spaces is with us. Reiko is a huge community moderator who's also pretty well known in the CNFT space as well. Then other artists, we have one of the artists, I feel really bad singling people out. Alexia, for example, Rubot, Gaston, VR artisan. We have another French artist, Mécanique Générale. So I might be butchering some of the names, but all around amazing people. If you gave me an hour, I could just go on for an hour and just talk about them, because I'm in love with their work, everything that they do. So I would definitely recommend checking them out.
Okay, I'm terrible with names as well, so it's okay. It's my thick Australian accent that butchers every single last name around the world. So I do terribly at that. But in terms of all these artists, I'll make sure that I add in a slice where everyone can actually see this and see all the artists on the council at the moment, at least, and some highlights on the platform. So I'll make sure all of that is highlighted and in the links below in the show notes, so people can see who's on the platform at the moment. There was recently an interesting announcement that I saw on LinkedIn, actually. It's one of those places where you don't think you'd see a lot of crypto-related CNFT news. You usually see it on Reddit or Twitter or whatever it is. But LinkedIn is where I saw it, and that's what caught my attention. What has happened recently on the Artano platform, and what are you celebrating at the moment?
oh, lots of things are happening, and that's how we met, Pete, right? Like it was funny when you said, I didn't know about Artano, and it's really great. I mean, LinkedIn is a really random place to learn about crypto, but I don't know, like I got it since I started posting there, and I guess it's like more for CEOs, professional people. I don't know, but like the exciting part, I guess, was Appeargon, which was featuring 64 artists from really all over the world. And Appeargon, it was a huge sale, 150 plus NFTs. There were some INFTs as well from Jean-Michel that Marija mentioned. So these are NFTs that change over time. His NFTs are incredible. They age over time. So it's like an aging process and de-aging process. And every day it's like a bit of a older sculpture. You can see them on our website. And it's incredible work. I mean, it's the people from Tezos, people from Ethereum. I think this is something we were really proud of, to attract this talent from other blockchains to Cardano. It was released on the platform. I mean, the first time people can mint on the platform, they can put things on sale, they can list NFTs. It's really exciting. Yeah.
Are you doing that all through smart contracts?
Yep, exactly. I think smart contracts supported. We also have a PAB-like solution that's wallet agnostic. So basically, any wallet can be used on our platform. It doesn't have to be, most marketplaces use Navi right now. We want to integrate that as well, but it's pretty wallet agnostic. So anything goes. Like you can buy and sell with any kind of wallet. Yeah,
that's absolutely fantastic. So what's I'm trying to picture what the going price for some of these art pieces are going for at the moment. Have you hit like some incredibly high price for some of these CNFTs yet?
So one of the pieces has sold for 3,333 ADA. That's the highest. I don't know if it's the highest sale, probably not on Cardano, but it's the highest for us. Yeah, for like an ADA as well. Which is, I think it's incredible to have so much support, and then also seeing a lot of collectors coming to the marketplace as well. And this is something, and high-end art isn't maybe the word, but like maybe a more limited NFT kind of support for the artist is the way to go for the collectors, right, as well. And of course there's like the investment thing. People want to participate in huge collections as an investment, but this way as well, you can, use it as an investment, I think, as well, invest in the artist as well, and, earn some tokens with it. So, it's a different approach from all other marketplaces on Cardano right now. But we believe, there is a space.
Yeah, I love the idea and concept. One of the interesting things I'd like to dig into is how hard was it to convince these artists from Tezo and Ethereum to come over to a new platform on Cardano, and to convince them to change over to something completely new and untested, essentially?
I would say it's a lot of work and a lot of one-to-one with people. So it really takes up a lot of your time. I wouldn't say it's incredibly difficult to convince people to come over, but it's time consuming. So you really have to be a sort of a Cardano ambassador to convince someone that, like lower fees, that's great, but Tezos has lower fees. So what do we have that Tezos doesn't have? Like what makes us so special, right? And one of the things, that I think makes Artano different from what currently is out there is that we really bring in exceptional people to the group, so that you already have a community that someone wants to be a part of. And that's another thing, that I think you need to have trustworthy members. So you need to have someone whose recommendations people will trust and go, they can go off of, right? So that when one of our artists gives a recommendation to their friends, or when they post on Instagram, they know that this is not a scam. They're not minting on OpenSea, they're minting on a kind of platform. And so here, where I think it's that factor is really, really important. So I wouldn't say it's incredibly difficult to bring people over. Some people maybe dislike Cardano, and that's like, you can't really do much about that. Like, and they don't want to come over, and that's okay. But for other people, it's just, it's just another blockchain, and not necessarily even another blockchain. It's just another NFT platform. They mint on 10 and they're like, okay, maybe 11th. Why not? And then it's up to exactly, and it's up to us to give like a maybe let's say a superior service, a more one-to-one time, really going out of our way to help them, onboard them if they have any issues. You know, you need to be there and stuff like that. So I would say like the timeline is more consuming, but I wouldn't say it's incredibly difficult to get them to mint. But keeping people, then maybe that would be like a whole different story, because you know no one has really a loyalty to only one NFT platform or one blockchain in particular. So that's like a whole different question.
Okay. So that brings in another interesting factor as well. So the fact that you're spending so much time with the artists to get their collections in, and I guess even organize the organization, because it's not fully automated and decentralized through a DAO yet. So I'm assuming you're spending a lot of time in the business trying to develop it and keep artists on and getting new artists onboarded. So what's the revenue structure to keep this in play? How is Artano generating revenue, and how is it paying staff so that you can keep this flow going and build up the community?
Up to the end of 2021, we were completely self-funded. It was our team members that, you know, were paying the devs, were pulling through, because it's one auction and we were developing everything, you know, in the meantime. So that's probably why there hasn't been a lot of activity in terms of minting and selling and buying, but everything was team funded basically up until the end of this year. And then now we onboarded one investor who's really more of an investor / advisor role. So he has a traditional art background and a lot of connections in that world, and it was really useful to like bridge both the NFTs and the traditional art world. So he's really a great addition in all ways. So that's how we're keeping on going in the future. But we're launching the platform like officially once we integrate Nami. I think that's like going to take away a lot of these small mistakes that people tend to make, like, you know, sending in and the NFT without the ADAOZ and placing on sale and stuff like that. And you have to, like, there's just so many like little things where we have to assist. But I think Nami integration is going to fix a lot of these things. So as soon as that's done, we're onboarding all of the people that have been curated, which is so far, I think, I don't want to speak, but probably around 200, 250 artists or something like that. Really different backgrounds. Like we had 2 rounds of curation. So far, the council members have been curating in the meantime while Paragon was going on, the last collection that we had. And we're going to have primary sales, obviously secondary sales, and we have we take 5% on primary sales, 2.5 on secondary sales, and these are the fees as far as like buying and selling goes, I would say.
Okay, brilliant. So it's good to know that those factors are looked at and I guess planned for funding the future of the platform. That's really good to know. This is absolutely amazing. I absolutely love the idea, the concept, and everything that you've pieced together. And I'd really love to get in and find out more about all of the artists and the collections that are coming out. What's the best way to join the community? So I'm assuming there's a big community behind Artano at the moment. What's the best way to engage with the platform and engage with the community?
Well, currently I'm working on revamping the Discord channel, because we were mostly like, we kind of were all over the place because there wasn't a lot of activity. Like I said, you know, minting, buying and selling on the platform. So we're on Twitter, we're obviously on Instagram, we're on Telegram, we're pretty much everywhere. But I think we're going to focus and shift most of our work on Discord in the coming months when the platform opens up and there's, you know, trading going on. So I would say Discord would be number one place where you go to get answers to your questions, because you're going to get the quickest response. The entire team is going to be there. So I would say if you have any doubts, Discord for sure. All the, you know, information about the ARTA token, the guide around staking, about us as a team, like some general questions, also issues FAQ if people encounter some issues, but it's already been answered. So I think definitely Discord would be the best way to go if you like to stay in touch and see what's going on with Artano. We do have an exciting collection in mid-February, right, Mateja? We can't say too much about it, but I think it's going to be announced in the coming weeks. And it's a really cool and exciting project that I'm really excited about. So we're going to share it in the next couple of days, hopefully.
Okay, all right. Looking forward to it. Depending on where this comes out, it may be included into the podcast as well. So it's I'll keep an eye out for it and see if I can slice it in.
Yeah.
So, okay. So last question. What does the 2022 look like for the platform? What's coming up? What can people expect to see coming up in this year?
Yeah, I think one of the main things is just kind of expanding our artists, like projects and stuff like that, like collaborating with galleries, museums, getting Cardano, preaching Cardano sort of to different parties, right? And spreading this idea of banking the banked, of course, onboarding people from non-traditional kind of underrepresented minorities in crypto and in tech, expanding our, like giving opportunities to people who don't just come from Europe and North America. I think it's like, or Australia, right? I think it's really, this is how we started with this idea of how do we onboard more people and be more inclusive towards people who can't afford $100-$200 to mint. So for Artano, auctions, of course, and then collaborations with different maybe Cardano projects and incorporating different kinds of art as well. So not just visual art, but also music and maybe even literature and film. So this is like something that we're really excited to work on. I think music is going to go first. You can already mint videos on our platform. There's a limit to the number of, there's 100 megabytes, up to 100 megabytes, which is, again, the highest of any marketplace on Cardano, I believe, right now. Still, having music and film and kind of onboarding a new council that is capable of curating this kind of work is also important, because we don't have anybody who's a musician. I have some, classical training, but like we want to have like actual musicians on the council who are able to curate art and onboard these amazing artists. So I think that's pretty much it. Like I'm excited for 2022. It's definitely our year. I've heard from my OG as well. They think 2022 is the NFT year for Cardano. So I'm really excited about that, and we'll see. Yeah.
It is definitely going to be a big year for Cardano. 2022 is shaping up for everything around DeFi, NFTs, and everything else. Even GameFi is looking huge at the moment. So I'm really excited for Cardano. Matt, Marija, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure learning more about Artano, the platform, and everything that you're doing in the Cardano ecosystem as well. It's absolutely brilliant to see.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Hopefully you enjoyed this interview with the team there. They're doing some really cool things with highlighting and showcasing those artists and bringing them into that digital platform so they have somewhere to express themselves. And the fact that they're reaching out to other communities, other networks, other artists where they haven't even heard of Cardano before, that's a real big win and plus as well. Thank you, Artano team, for joining me on the podcast as well, and check out everything on their website in regards to their token, their DAO, their curation process. It's absolutely fantastic. If you enjoyed this content, please give me that thumbs up, click subscribe, click on the notification bell, and hear more from me real soon.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.